I'm blank.
You're right. Okay, all right.
We're trying to remember who she is, so I just put a magic marker in her
Yeah.
death.
Give me a crayon and I'll just color it.
Said I'd be nice when you get you shorts that was on your Scott.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got a karaoke prompter there, is that what that is, Vicki?
Yes. That's how you guys go
Yeah.
along.
Is 13 closed by your house?
It probably will be towards the end of the week.
It's not.
It's the side road beside us right now.
Okay.
Because it comes across there right in the middle of the speedway, and then it goes to our corner, and then it'll come up across, shoot up to 13
Well, I stay in town like tonight for tourists. That's how I always do things, and I usually just go down 13, because I want the Barbie Lakes. Yeah, but I can still go down 13, I'm gonna go follow Route 13?
Yes.
Okay.
And usually they close it, or they open it back up at 5. They have been, but I don't know.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Yes, good.
I was down for a couple days.
He said we're gonna do, we're gonna do.
Yes, yeah.
Who said that?
Well, Scott, he said he wanted to do it together till.
I wonder if we should do it twice, because she's never even taken an oath yet.
He just told me, I said,
She left for like 6 weeks. We were trying to get to know her, so it didn't, so now she had surgery. So
you don't
now
have to,
she's
but eventually
she's
you're
down
ready.
for at least another 6 months.
Where are you
And
doing
the
it?
doctor.
Whatever. You guys. Well, I figured he'd take pictures. Maybe it is. Well, he could take pictures. No, I mean,
Right, and that's like, she's like, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna repeat after me,
get back in my.
but I just said, I'm gonna say,
And
I, you
I
have to
was
say
like,
your
you know
name.
what, I don't know.
So raise your right hand.
Don't do it.
Are we ready? We're gonna start. Go right ahead. Okay. I. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution
Of the United States of America.
of the United States of America
And the Constitution of the State of Indiana.
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
And the laws of the United States.
and the laws of the United States
And the State of Indiana.
and the State of Indiana.
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office.
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
As a member of this governing body.
as a member of this governing body,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Sign.
Scott, I thought your first order of business would be a motion to adjourn.
That's next. That's next.
Okay. Oh, I brought that one to the other ones. And I will take it
And
back,
that-
sign it.
Yes.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna-
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause she-
Thank you, though.
No. All right, thank you. No, I didn't, sorry.
I think Lynn's coming from school, so we have to give it a few minutes for her.
Yeah.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, Lynn.
How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
Good. You want a second to get set, or do you want me to start? You ready to go? Good evening. In lieu of this is the Board of Finance meeting, and in lieu of a current Board of Finance president, I will call the meeting to order. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's like there is no media present. I'm Superintendent Tim Pavarnik, and I will be chairing the Board of Finance Committee meeting this evening. We'll start proceedings, having already sworn in our new board members. Our first order of business will be the election of a Board of Finance president. And once this is done, then the meeting will be turned over to the new president to carry on the meeting. Everything in front of me, and I changed it up. Okay, welcome to the January 11th, 2023 reorganization meeting of the Whitko Community School Corporation Board of Finance meeting. We have no media present. So first on the agenda is election of officers. Nominations for Board of Finance President will now be taken from the floor. Names put forth.
I would nominate Scott Wursler for the Board of Finance President.
I'd second it.
Scott Wursler has been nominated for candidacy for president and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Nominations will now close. All those in favor of Scott Wursler for Board of Finance President indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The vote is 5-0, 4 and 0 for, did you vote no? You didn't vote? The vote is 4 votes for and 1 abstention for Scott Wursler as Board of Finance President. Having been duly elected as 2023 Board of Finance President, I now turn the meeting over to President Wursler.
Thank you. I'd like to now open the floor for nominations for the election of Board of Finance Vice President.
I nominate Deb Thomas for the Board of Finance Vice President.
Second.
Nomination has been brought forward and seconded. I'd like to take a vote. All in favor of Deb Thomas for Board of Finance Vice President, please state, saying aye.
Aye.
For those against? Motion passes. Now I'd like to open the floor for nomination of the Board of Finance Secretary. Do you have any nominations?
I nominate Lynn Studebaker for the Secretary of the Board of Finance.
I second it.
Nomination has been made and seconded. I'd like to call for a vote. Those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we come to a review of investment policy. And that is Mr. Loniger.
Yeah, this investment policy is going to be kind of a quick short review. We're following the investment policy number 6144 under school board policies. And basically, I'm just here to report that for the year of 2022, we had interest in investments, which is basically associated with Star Financial, to sweep it down We get interest in that, we get interest in the Crossroads and Lake City banks for cafeteria accounts. And the total was $38,429.29. And we'll probably be looking at other options now that rates are higher to start moving that over possibly to a 2-month CD. Some of our balances will get higher.
Okay, and then 6.0 is the financial condition review. That's also Mr. Montague.
I think it was handed out or sent out to you regarding the website to go to for the school corporation fiscal indicators. This is a report that's created under the Distress Unit Appeals Board website. And basically, it's going to give you information on what they look at from this board's perspective, see if a school corporation or another tax unit is stable, viable, it's financially strong. So obviously, if there's an issue, they would be able to point that out with various indicators. Going back to that front page there, it does show that this is for the 21-22 fall count, and all the financial data is coming from 2021. So it's kind of like looking back almost a year to kind of give these reports. But as it does say there, our assessed value in 2022 was $531,633,053, and with 2023's assessed value, our assessed value increased almost 18%. It went up to $626,678,305. First slide that I'm going to show you here is our average daily membership. And this goes from 2014-15 school year to the 21-22 school year. And you'll see that our ADM has been slowly tracking down. We were at 1470 in 2014, and we're at 1222 at the start of the 21-22 school year. This is a concern, but I'll kind of hit on this later, that thanks to the increase in state funding statewide, we've been able to keep our revenues pretty constant, even with the declining ADM. I think it's kind of the board's intention to continue to look at ways to increase our ADM going forward. The ADM numbers we use create the basic grant funding from the state, and that's the only funding revenue we have coming into the education fund. So this is something we always want to kind of monitor and look forward when the numbers come in. The fund balance sheet, this is kind of a busy form with all the funds. But basically, I just wanted to point this out, that in 2019, there was a big change by the state IDOE legislature that we were moving from all these various funds that we had before, tax rates and so forth, and we took the general fund from the past, and that became the education fund. The general fund was tax rated as well as basic grant supported, and it all got put into an education fund, which is only supported through state funding. And that education fund is set up for any kind of teachers, classroom IAs, any kind of instruction in the classroom. So it all got combined into just the education fund and the expenses associated with it. The operation fund used to be, before 2019, it used to be a capital projects fund, transportation fund. The capital projects was where all the improvements were built into, all the repairs of buildings. All that got moved over into the new operation fund, and that's kind of where we moved going forward from 2019. Now that is a totally tax-rated fund. It doesn't have any state support coming into that at all. And it's everything to support the classroom education. This is that same screen, fund balance, but it's broke out just for the three major funds, the debt service fund, the education fund, and the operation fund. And you'll see that when things got started in 2019 with the education fund, that the fund balance moved up to where it was in 2020, and it's kind of leveled off at that amount. The operation fund, as of December of each year, as you can see, in 2018 through 21 is pretty constant as well. And the debt service fund, the operating balance has been going down as we've been paying some debt services off the last couple of years. The next slide basically looks at the annual deficit or surplus. And there again, this is for all funds, and we kind of want to focus on 2019. And that first column in each one of these years is the amount of revenue that we actually brought in, and compared to the second column, which is the expenditures, and then the difference is your deficit or your surplus. So in 2021, it shows that we had more revenue coming in all of our funds than we did expenses, and we were building up a little surplus cash. This is the education fund by itself, looking at how our surplus has been over the last 2 or 3 years. And you'll see that running across that board, or that display, that slide, is the revenues that stays pretty much constant. Our expenditures have increased somewhat, so our amount of surplus has just been going down a little. And there again, that goes back to that discussion with our ADM. As we lose ADM numbers, even though we went down on our ADM, the state support from what the state has put into our ADM costs has been able to maintain that account moving forward. Next fund is the operation fund, and you'll see that in 2021 those are very similar as far as the revenues versus the expenditures, with very little surplus in those funds. And that's something that we need to keep in mind, that a big portion of our operation is capital projects. To keep the buildings maintained and updated, there is very little extra wiggle room to do a major project or a major improvement. And that's kind of where debt service comes into play if you have to do an overall project like we did down at the high school with the track, the basketball courts. This is just kind of a look at the annual deficit surplus on a calendar year basis. So there again, that's just the debt fund by itself. Looking at that, that's just more informational purposes, because whatever we need to fund our debt payments, the revenue is set up through property taxes. There's nothing too much on that. But I did want to point out that in 2019 through 21, our actual expenditures for debt service payments has gone down. And with that, that may be something we want to look at going forward, instead of trying to stabilize our overall tax rate. Because this is where we can fund projects and so forth moving forward that we basically pay out of operation fund in the past. We only pay so much out of there, but if we have big expenditures, we can look at this option with the debt service to raise funds to cover our major projects. This next screen is just kind of a basic rule of thumb in the industry, that you want to try to maintain at least a cash balance at the end of each year, half of your total expenditures. So in this example here of all of our funds from 2019 on, as of December 31st, the cash balance in all of our funds is half of what our total expenditure outflow for the whole year. So we want to at least try to maintain a cash operating balance close to 50%. With the education fund, we are being consistent and constant, roughly around 40%. It would be nice to get that a little higher, but as far as the operation balance to the total expenditures, we're roughly around 40% of our total expenditures in extra cash. And then the operation fund, you'll see that we're been maintaining above a 50% level in cash balance to our total expenditures. Next screen is just a breakout of revenues by different types. You'll see the legend on the right that has the breakdown of those various revenues. You'll see the revenue for all from 2014 to 21 at constant width, meaning that we're getting about the same amount of property tax dollars over all of our funds. And then you also see that the blue category there, which is your state revenue funding, gets actually a little bit wider as you move to the right, so we are getting more funding from the state for state basic grant and other fundings. And at the very top is the federal money that gets through our title grants. And then we broke it out by what it looks like for the education fund. You'll see it's all blue because, like I was saying, primarily all our funding is state revenue coming into education. As well as when you look at the operation fund, it's all orange because it's local tax dollars funding that. I just put this screen in here. Some schools are using tax referendums to go above and beyond the operational and debt service. We don't currently use that, so I just want to point that out as a good thing. Two of the schools in Whitko County currently have referendums in place, and I was just looking at the tax rates when they came in, and we were below both Whitko County and Smith Green in our tax rates because they had those extra tax rates built in. This screen is kind of a summary of our budget that we got approved for 2023. As you'll see there that we have roughly the same amount of tax dollars coming in, but because of the assessed value, like I mentioned, it fluctuates. It went up by over 17%. So our tax rate for this year has moved to 91 cents. Last year we were at roughly $1.06. So we basically created a funding mechanism going forward that we can use that extra fluctuation in our tax rate to look at trying to do some of the projects that we're wanting to talk about in 2023. That's all I have.
Governor Holcomb, in his state address, announced a 6% increase, I believe it was, in school funding
Yes.
at this session, and another 2% at the next session. Would be a total of 8, but we'll focus on the 6%. Optimistically, with legislature being all one-party controlled down there, that 6% will get through the House and the Senate, and that 6% would then be allocated in, as you see it, what type of funding mechanism?
That's all related to basic grant. So the state
Right.
puts more money into the basic grant funding formula.
Okay,
That then goes to all the schools, so that would help out the situation.
and offset the ADM.
Yes. So even though, I mean, obviously we want to be increasing our ADM, at least maintaining it, so at least we know that we're getting more funding. And then that source is, it's a biennium budget. So like you were saying, 6% the first year, 2% the next. And there was also some other discussion that he wanted to eliminate short-term or long-term, but the costs for textbooks. He said that 7 states in the United States still charge for textbook costs. So he's trying to put funding in place so that they don't have to charge for textbooks. Those are a couple of things that are going on.
So, and I think that's important for us. I know the State Superintendent's Association has a lobbying legislative group, which I'm a member of, and we do meet with our representatives regularly, and with the governor, and have been in his ear about these issues. So it's very refreshing to see that he's listening and hearing us, and hopefully we'll get this passed, and then and hopefully a new governor will carry it on when in 24. But it's very promising looking for school funding moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that concludes the agenda for the Board of Finance meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn the finance meeting.
I'll second that.
Having been, a motion been made and seconded, I'd like to take a vote. All in favor for adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Welcome to the January 11, 2023 reorganization meeting of the Whitko Community School Corporation Board of School Trustees. As superintendent, I will conduct this meeting until the election of a school board president. First on the agenda is election of officers. Nominations for school board president will now be taken from the floor.
I'd like to nominate Annette to continue on as president.
Annette Arnold has been nominated
I second it.
and seconded. Any other nominations from the floor? Nominations will be closed. All those in favor of Annette Arnold as 2023 school board president indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Annette Arnold has been elected president. Madam President, the meeting is now yours.
Thank you, Mr. Pavarnik. We will move on to 3.0, where we elect the vice president of the school board. I would take nominations from the floor.
I nominate Georgia Tenney.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? We will go ahead and vote. Georgia has been nominated as the vice president. Can I get a vote on that, please? If all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? And the motion passes, and Georgia is our new vice president. Move on to 4.0, the election of the school board secretary. I will take nominations from the floor for this.
I nominate Scott Wursler as our school board secretary.
I second.
Are there any other nominations? And the nominations will now close. We'll go ahead and take a vote on Scott Wursler being the secretary of the school board for this year. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Scott is our new board secretary. Moving on to 5.0, regular meeting dates, times, and locations. It is recommended that the board regularly meet the third Monday of each month at 6:30, with locations at the Whitko Career Academy Lecture Room. Work sessions are recommended the second Monday of each month at 4 o'clock, meeting in the Whitko Career Academy Tap Room generally. In March and September, we will be meeting at the junior senior high. In April and October, we will be meeting in Pierceton, and May and November at South Lily Elementary.
I thought we were Wednesday, the second Wednesday.
You're right. Second Wednesday. And I didn't catch that. Thank you, guys. Second Wednesday of each month at 4 o'clock. And we do need to take a vote on this, is that correct? Yes, okay.
Is that, can we discuss that first?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any
It
discussion?
always seems like, I mean, we don't usually get the agenda until noon that day. That doesn't give us time to look at it before we have our work session. Could we make it a Thursday or at least a day to look at that before we have to, you know, like, it's not enough time to have questions answered.
I think we can put the boards, once we can get that agenda out on Tuesday. If you need that much time, I mean, the whole purpose of a work session is to sit down and go over the agenda. And is for the board agenda. So to having to get the work session agenda out before the work session kind of negates the idea of a work session. It's to look at the board agenda and go over the bigger issues on it, discuss them before the meeting. If it would help, we could get the agenda out on Tuesday afternoon.
I think it would be helpful to do that.
Just at least to have another.
Yeah,
day.
a lot of times I don't have a chance to look at it before I get into.
Now, we're talking about the work session
The work
agenda,
sessions.
not the board meeting
Right,
agenda.
work sessions.
Yeah, we can work with that.
So we will have the board agenda sooner. We will still have an extra day, right?
Yeah,
For the board agenda.
the board
Like on
agenda,
Monday night.
the board agenda will go on as always. The work session agenda, I understand your question.
Okay, because I don't get to see, I don't get enough time to see the agenda for the Monday night meeting before our work session. Is this gonna fix that?
Oh, I thought you meant the work session
Yeah,
agenda.
not the-
That's what I mean that too, because
Okay.
I don't
I
get
think
the board,
there's
the actual board agenda.
miscommunication.
Yeah, for Monday
Oh,
night.
yeah, my
Okay.
bad, okay. But we can work with that. We can work
We can
with
get that
getting
out
the agenda.
Tuesday?
Yeah,
Okay, or we could just change the date to Thursday or something, that would, okay. Yeah, either's fine with me.
Wednesday works
As long
best
as
for
I just
everyone.
Get a day, at least an evening to be able to go over that, because right
Yeah.
now I do not have that.
I agree, because I don't most generally have a chance to go over it either before I come into the work session.
so we'll work with that, communicate with you guys and get that up at,
Okay.
earlier for that purpose.
All right, so any other discussion on that? So I would entertain a motion to go ahead and have our regular monthly board meetings on the third Monday of each month at 6:30, and the work sessions on the second Wednesday of each month at 4 o'clock.
I make a motion that we accept that.
Second?
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we have the board meetings the third Monday of each month at 6:30, and the work sessions the second Wednesday of each month at 4 o'clock. We've already discussed on that. Anything else? Let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 6.0 is the board's salary and benefits. It is recommended the School Board of Trustees' annual salary be $2,000 plus $27 per meeting. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, seeing no discussion, we will take a vote on that. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. I'm sorry, I didn't
Was
get
there a motion?
I didn't even get a motion, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead of myself.
How
Can I get a
about-
motion on that,
How
please?
about we make a motion that the annual salary be $2,000 and $27 per meeting?
Thank you, Georgia.
Second.
Okay, now we can take a vote. It's been properly moved and seconded, and there's still no discussion, I believe, so let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 7.0 is the treasurer and deputy treasurer. It is recommended that Lynn Leininger be appointed as the treasurer and Shelley Montague be appointed as the deputy treasurer for the 2023 calendar year. Could I get a motion, please?
Yeah, I move that we follow the recommendations as listed in 7.1.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we follow the recommendation that Lynn Leininger be appointed as treasurer and Shelley Montague as deputy treasurer for the 2023 calendar year. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 8.0 is the purchasing agent. It is recommended that Lynn Leininger be appointed as purchasing agent for the 2023 year. Could I get a motion, please?
I move that we follow the recommendations outlined in 8.1.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we follow the recommendation that Lynn Leininger be appointed as purchasing agent for the 2023 year. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 9.0 is the HIPAA privacy officer. It is recommended that Tim Pavarnik and Teresa Carano be appointed as the HIPAA privacy officers for the 2023 year. Can I get a motion, please?
I move we follow the recommendations as outlined in 9.1.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we follow the recommendation that Tim Pavarnik and Teresa Carano be appointed as HIPAA privacy officers for the 2023 year. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 10.0 is the school board attorney. It is recommended that John Whiteleather of Bloom Gates Shipman and Whiteleather LLP be appointed as the school board attorney for the 2023 year. Could I get a motion, please?
I move that we recommend John Whiteleather as our school board attorney for 2023.
A second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we follow the recommendation to have John Whiteleather of Bloom Gates Shipman and Whiteleather be our school board attorney for the 2023 year. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. And 11.0 is the authorization to appoint members. It is recommended the school board president appoints members to committees and/or organizations as necessary. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion that the school board president appoints members to committees and/or organizations as necessary.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the school board president appoints members to committees and/or organizations as necessary. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. 12.0, the Indiana School Board Association Board Liaison. The board will choose a member as the school board liaison to the Indiana School Board Association. And I do know that Georgia has asked if she could have that position. Is that something that we need to vote on, Teresa? We do need to vote on Georgia, or just the fact that we're having a liaison? Okay.
Or I thought that was just your appointment.
11.0 authorizes you to appoint
That's
members.
what I
And that's been
thought.
voted on and approved,
Yeah, I
so you
don't
can
think
make
we
the
needed to
appointment.
have a separate.
Is there anywhere in that 12.0 that we need to make a vote on anything?
I don't think you need
It's
to,
just the
but
appointment.
if you want to have a vote for assurances, it's not going to hurt.
It says the board will choose.
Yeah, I don't think that's right, though.
That's a person vote.
Let's go ahead and have a vote on that, just to dot all of our i's and, yep. So Georgia has stepped forward and said she would like to be the liaison this year. Can I get a motion for that, please?
Yeah, I move that Georgia be the liaison to the School Board Association. Indiana Board
I'll
Association.
second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that Georgia be the school board liaison to the Indiana State School Board Association. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. In 13.0, we have the Pearson Recreation Board appointment. The Pearson Recreation Board requests the appointment of a Whitko School Board member to its board. Deb Thomas has volunteered to serve on this board, and she will replace Georgia Tenney, who recently resigned. Could I get a motion for that, please?
I make a motion that we accept the appointment of Deb Thomas to the Pearson Recreation Board.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the appointment of Deb Thomas to the Pearson Recreation Board. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. In 14.0, we will talk about the mileage rate. It is recommended that the school corporation adopt the Internal Revenue Services mileage rates for the use of cars, vans, pickups, or panel trucks. Currently, the rate is at 65.5 cents per mile, and this rate may change during the year. Could I get a motion, please?
I move we accept the rate as presented by the IRS.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the rate presented by the IRS of 65.5 cents per mile. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. In 15.0, we have a miscellaneous board item, just stating that we have a work session following this meeting, and it will be held in the tap room. The next regular school board meeting is scheduled for this coming Monday, January 16th at 6:30 PM. I would entertain a motion to adjourn this portion of our meeting.
I move that we adjourn.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn this portion of the meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? This portion of the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.